Let's return to the surface.
I'm so proud that we have in this Crystal Cathedral what is acclaimed as a great organ. And very importantly, as it was being completed, the designer Virgil Fox called me, and he was then dying of cancer. And I said, Virgil, who can really make the most out of the instrument? He said, in my opinion, the greatest organist in America playing today is the man that you should have on your staff, and that's Dr. Frederick Swan from Riverside Church in New York City. We prayed, we invited Fred Swan. He is our minister of music and our chief organist today, and it's an important Sunday, and Fred has a special little word for all of you right now.
We are celebrating the 3rd anniversary of the dedication of this great instrument. It was on May 7th, 1982. For the last 2.5 of those 3 years, it has been my great privilege and joy to be organist for this cathedral congregation. Prior to that, during my 25-year tenure at Riverside Church in New York, I faithfully watched the Hour of Power every Sunday morning before I went to my Riverside duties. And it was on this televised service that I first learned about the great building that was to be built, and then even more excitingly for an organist, the great instrument that was to go into it. It was designed, as Dr. Schuller said, by my New York predecessor and dear friend Virgil Fox, one of the greatest organists ever to shine in the organist firmament. When we were discussing this organ, it became obvious to both of us that it was not going to be an ordinary organ. In truth, we both said it really has the potential to surpass what we both thought was then the greatest organ in the world, the instrument that we had designed and helped build in Riverside Church in New York. Sadly, Virgil did not live to see the organ completed, but I, along with dozens of organists from all over the country, flew to California for the dedication, and what a historic event it really was. Since that time, my concert tours have taken me, well, before and since I had on concert tours, I have played many of the major organs in the world, the ones in this country, those abroad, such as St. Paul's Cathedral and Westminster Abbey in London, Notre Dame in Paris, St. Jacob's in Hamburg, and the largest church organ in the world, the one in the Cathedral of Passau, Germany. When I came here for the dedication, I knew that 1 month later I would be returning to play the first solo recital on the instrument, but at that time I certainly never dreamed that shortly afterward I would be invited to become the organist that would preside over these vast resources on a regular basis. In spite of having played these other great organs, I have to be honest and say there's no organ in the world that is as thrilling to play or as magnificent as this instrument. And that's not only my opinion. Many of the great organists of the world who have played here agree with me. The late Pierre Cochereau of Notre Dame dedicated the organ. He felt that way. So does Simon Preston, the organist of Westminster Abbey, who has presented 2 concerts here. Joachim Grubich of Poland, Peter Eben of Czechoslovakia, and a long list of notables who have played the organ. And we all agree, and we feel sure that all of the organists yet to come will say what we say, that we very soon run out of the list of the highest, most complimentary adjectives in our vocabulary when we start to talk about this organ. Today, in observance of the 3rd anniversary and in tribute to Hazel Wright, who passed away only a few months ago, I'm going to play a short festival toccata on the hymn, O God, Our Help in Ages Past, a great hymn of faith and one which Mrs. Wright declared to be a personal favorite when she asked me to play it for her on one of her last visits to the cathedral.
Thank you, Fred. And now I have a very exciting announcement to make. You know, this organ, when it was planned by Virgil Fox, Virgil was given the freedom to design the ultimate instrument. We placed no limitations on him. He said, "What can you afford?" I said, "That's not the issue." When the final instrument came on the drawing boards, the cost would hit $1 million in cash, in addition to the pipes and instruments we had. It was at that point that Hazel Wright made the gift of $1 million in cash to pay for it. This great instrument, just like all great and beautiful instruments, whether it is an automobile or whatever, does cost a great deal of money to maintain it. It costs us about $75,000 a year to keep this thing in constant maintenance. If we spend that kind of money, the lifespan of this instrument can literally last for centuries. And the great treasure that it is deserves to be so cared for. It's been my concern. And so only a couple of months ago, Hazel Wright's will in the estate was opened, and she has left for us in a permanent endowment care for this instrument a sum of $1 million in cash. So the annual earnings of this permanent endowment fund will completely care for the maintenance of this instrument, keeping it at its peak performance capability until the great and ultimate trumpet sounds. Hazel Wright, thank you. This ministry, thank God, is a ministry that's had people like Hazel.